Good afternoon. My name is Gloria Luna, and today I will be presenting the Early Childhood Environmental Rating Scale. I will be explaining its critical components, as well as its role in ensuring high quality education in early childhood settings. The Early Childhood Environmental Rating Scale is composed of 6 different components. The first one is the environment, space, and furnishings. It also includes personal care routines, language and literacy, learning activities, interactions, and the overall program structure. I'd like to take a moment to explain what it is as well as how it is used. The Early Childhood Environmental Rating Scale is an assessment tool that early childhood centers use to measure the quality of their programs. The purpose of this assessment tool is to enhance the quality of learning in preschools. While this rating scale aims to ensure that there are appropriate materials within the preschool environment, it is primarily based on the interactions between the educators and the children. So, how this works is the evaluator and the program director will come up with a 3-hour window in which this assessment is going to take place. The program director needs to ensure that while the evaluation is taking place, this 3-hour window includes at least 1 hour of purposeful play, at least 30 minutes of gross motor play, at least 1 meal time, and at least 1 transition. The day of the program evaluation, the evaluator will arrive at the program about 30 minutes before, and they will introduce themselves to the staff and the children. And after that, they will begin collecting data and they will begin their assessment. At the end of the 3-hour observation, the evaluator will meet with the program director and they will provide feedback based on their findings. If there were any safety concerns during the evaluation, then the evaluator will share this, but they will also highlight all of the good things of the program. Let's look at the first subscale that is assessed. The first subscale that is assessed is the program's space and furnishings, so the program's overall learning environment. The evaluator is looking at the materials in the classroom, the furnishings, the layout of the room, the space. They're assessing whether the environment is safe and age appropriate and whether it is well kept and the different materials are purposeful and whether they're meeting their children's needs. For example, in an infant classroom, there should be carpet because the children are crawling, they are climbing. The furnishings should be small and should encourage children to lift themselves up. You should also have a space where the children can nap, where the children can store their items, such as their diapers, their wipes that they use throughout the day. And tables and chairs should be meeting the children's heights. When the evaluator walks into a particular classroom, they're looking to make sure that that classroom is meeting the needs of the children that are in that room. So the infant classroom should look completely different to the pre-K classroom. The pre-K classroom will have cubbies for each child to store their things in. They should have potties, whereas in the infant room, they should have a diaper changing table. Each classroom needs to have materials that are age appropriate, but they should also feel cozy and warm. They should meet each child's individual needs. Let's look at the second subscale in the assessment. This is going to look into the center's personal care routines. What the evaluator is looking at in this portion of the assessment is whether the Early Childhood Center provides opportunities for children to learn healthy habits. Healthy habits are equally as important to the learning and the development of young children. Things that should be taking place in the classroom are conversations about nutrition. When the children are sitting down having snack or having lunch, the educator should be teaching the children different vocabulary words that have to do with nutrition. The educator should also be modeling these healthy food choices. So let's say the teacher sits down with a group of children during snack time. The ideal would be for them to pull out a healthy snack and model to the kids these healthy food choices. The educators in high quality preschools should also model great personal care routines, such as washing their hands, sneezing properly, coughing properly. You will hear the educators teaching the kids how to cough into their elbows. I've heard educators in the past teach their kids how to cough or sneeze like a vampire, right? They sneeze into their elbows rather than sneezing in front of their whole class, in front of all their friends. Inside and outside of the classroom, the educator should also teach and model good safety practices. So, teaching the kids how to go down the slide on their bottoms, how to wait for their turn, how to keep their feet on the ground instead of climbing on furniture, things like that. High quality preschools understand that good personal care routines are equally as important as academic learning activities. In this manner, they are meeting the needs of the whole child. They're not just learning their ABCs or their numbers, they're learning good personal care routines that they're going to use throughout their lives. The third subscale is the way in which the center promotes language and literacy development. Educators should be engaging in meaningful interactions with their children that support the language and literacy development. This means that while they are playing, they are teaching their kids how to communicate with one another. They are modeling turn taking. They're modeling how to ask for help, how to ask for toys. And they even should teach their kids how to draw boundaries with one another. Free play or indoor center time and outdoor play are excellent opportunities for educators to model and teach these important social lessons. The evaluator is also going to take a look at how educators use books in the classroom. There should be age appropriate books in the classroom, and educators should be using these books to read to the children every single day. Educators should use these books daily to teach the children basic reading and literacy concepts, like how to turn the page, how we read from left to right, how words have meaning. They should have conversations about the illustrations and use them to make predictions. Language and literacy should be three-dimensional. I tell my staff all the time that when they play a story on the TV or on the projector, learning stops when it is one-dimensional. When educators take the time to sit down and read to the children, they are demonstrating facial expressions, they're using illustrations to make predictions. They make learning fun. So, language and literacy development should be three-dimensional. The fourth subscale that will be assessed are the center's learning activities. Different learning activities and materials in the classroom should encourage the development of the whole child. There should be opportunities for children to explore music, art. They should be able to engineer cities using blocks and magnet tiles. There should be a clearly defined dramatic play center, as well as a math and science center, and a reading center, so the children can spend some time away from the whole group. In a high quality preschool setting, there should be at least 5 clearly defined interest centers that encourage the development of the whole child. All of the materials in the classroom should include a purpose. They should be used to encourage kids to develop their hand-eye coordination, their fine motor skills, gross motor development, and social emotional development. For example, the toys outside on the playground, they should have hula hoops and tricycles. They should be able to climb and strengthen those gross motor muscles. Inside of the classroom, they should have opportunities for them to practice lacing or threading or pinching. Children should also have the opportunity to explore the natural world, make observations, water the garden, and have a sense of awe and wonder to the world around them. All of the learning activities and the materials in the classroom should serve a higher purpose. They also should reflect the school standards for representing diversity, equity, and inclusion. This means that the books that are used should include people that look like the children in your classroom. Any posters, any toys, any books, they should represent the communities that we serve and their traditions. The different activities and materials in the classroom should also take into consideration the types of different learners that we have. Some of the children in our classroom are kinesthetic learners. Some of them are auditory learners. Some of them are visual learners. We have to make sure that the materials that we have in our classrooms are meeting their needs. We can't expect all children to learn the same way. So, because of that, there needs to be opportunities for them to explore different subjects like music, math, engineering, technology, nature, science, math, art, dramatic arts. In the classroom that I'm teaching at right now, the majority of my students are boys. So I make sure that there are different blocks that they can use to build. I understand that they're going to learn very differently from little girls. And so I need to make sure that the materials that I have in my classroom and that the activities that we do are meeting their needs and their interests. When I had a classroom of mostly girls, they loved the dramatic arts center. They love the arts center. Right now, my boys are not very interested in those two things. And so, again, it's meeting the kids where they're at, meeting their needs and meeting their interest. That's what high quality education looks like. The fifth subscale that is assessed are the interactions. This includes interactions between staff and children and interactions between children amongst other children. First and foremost, educators need to ensure that that their classrooms and that their environments are safe and secure. They need to adequately supervise the children under their care and guide them through different social situations. Children need to feel safe and secure both emotionally and physically. Children must know and be reassured that their teachers are there to meet their emotional and their physical needs. So, for example, if they're playing outside and they trip and fall, the child's natural instinct is going to be to look up and check to see if they can make eye contact with their caregiver. And in a high quality preschool, the educator is not just going to overlook that interaction. They're going to walk up to the child and hold them and validate their feelings, put a band aid on their ouchie. Educators will take that extra step to meet their students' emotional needs. In high quality programs, you're going to see teachers engage with children positively. And as a result, you're going to see children engaging with other children positively as well. The educators should take every opportunity to teach and model how to be patient, how to be kind, how to be compassionate, how to be forgiving. The teachers will be guiding their children through these different social scenarios, how to take turns, how to ask for help, how to draw boundaries with other children. And they're going to validate their students' feelings. They're going to teach their kids how to work through their emotions. They're not going to tell them to stop crying. They're going to teach them how to work through their sadness, how to work through their anger. Educators will also model respectful interactions with one another. Children are always observing, they're always watching, always listening. And so they're going to look at how educators relate with one another, how they speak to other educators. High quality preschools will use constructive guidance. We're working with very young children. They're bound to make mistakes. They're learning how to work through different social situations. And so instead of ridiculing them and shaming them, these high quality preschools, they guide their children through the different social settings. They teach them good values. And most importantly, they treat their students with equity and respect. I tell my staff to treat and speak to the children the way that they want to be treated, the way that they want to be spoken to. I think that sometimes educators forget this part. But children, even though they are little, they deserve the same level of respect as a full-grown adult. The last subscale in the assessment is the overall program's structure. Before the assessment, when the evaluator is given the copy of the classroom's daily schedule, they're looking to make sure that the program is predictable, that it is age appropriate, that it is flexible, yet predictable for the children under their care. We forget oftentimes that this is all that children know. When they first come to our schools, they're scared, they're anxious, they've never been in school before. And so a predictable routine reduces this anxiety. To young children, predictability means safety, right? We tell our students, okay, after lunchtime, your mommy's coming for you, or after nap time, your mommy is coming for you. They get that reassurance from a predictable routine, and it tends to even reduce some of those more challenging behaviors that we see a lot of times from unpredictable schedules. The program schedule still needs to be age appropriate. So if the children are very young, they should be, if they're infants, they need to be able to take a nap whenever they would like. They need to be eating food every 2.5 to 3 hours. They should have at least 30 minutes of outdoor play. I say the more outdoor play that children can get, the better. And they should have opportunities for whole group and individual interactions. High quality programs should balance teacher directed and child directed activities. So, throughout one regular school day, children should be given the opportunity to make choices whether they want to spend some time socializing or whether they want to spend time playing quietly or parallel playing. Children should have at least 1 hour of interrupted free time where they can make choices on what it is that they want to play with that day. This free play should not be interrupted by small group activities or even transition times. Children should have these different opportunities to develop and grow at their own rate. So again, children are human beings with needs just like our own as adults. We are able to take a 10-minute break, a lunch break at our jobs. And we have to consider that children are at school for 6 to sometimes even 10 hours a day. So their schedule shouldn't feel stern. Their school day shouldn't feel unflexible or rigid. They should be able to make choices that meet their individual needs. So if they want to spend some time, again, reading quietly or drawing, they can do that. They don't have to spend all day jumping and dancing, right? There needs to be a balance of these activities. So again, the early childhood environmental rating scale, this assessment tool should be used to provide intentional, high quality educational opportunities for young children. But it's also a tool to remind educators that children should be treated with the same respect and equity that we ourselves want to be treated with. So again, we're working with little tiny humans. And I think that everyone's goal in early childhood should be to provide children with the best experiences, the most experiences possible: gardening, cooking, language, science, math, music, so that they can develop an awareness and appreciation to the world that God gave us. So, again, we as early childhood educators, we are working with God's most prized possession. We're working with God's babies. So, we should be investing all of our energy and all of our resources in providing the best possible learning environments, the best possible care to all of the children at our preschools. I love this quote from C.S. Lewis, and I just wanted to take a moment to highlight it, that children are not a distraction from more important work. they are the most important work. And again, our role in using these different assessment tools like ESER should be to provide high quality education for all of the young children under our care. So again, high quality education should be intentional. It should have intentional learning activities and experiences, intentional interactions between the children and their staff. And high quality education centers should not just meet but exceed the personal rights that children must be respected. The Early Childhood Environmental Rating Scale is a great assessment tool for schools to use to ensure that they're providing children with the highest quality of education possible. The tools that I used to create this presentation were the Division of Early Childhood Performance team, as well as the Early Childhood Environmental Rating Scale, the third edition of that one. Thank you.